Hello everyone and welcome to Poppy Seed Mini. Today we'll be showing you how to build your own Barbie-sized IKEA dollhouse out of cardboard boxes. We've been working on this idea for a while now and we're so happy to finally share it with you. If you would like to make this dollhouse in a 1/12 scale, you can cut the measurements on our diagram in half. You can visit our blog at poppyseedmini.blogspot.com to get the diagrams to cut and build this dollhouse. I will add the link in the description box below. Okay, let's get crafting. Before we get started, we need to talk about the cardboard you'll need. You're going to be hunting for boxes that are around 40 by 40 inches for the back panel. You can ask for boxes at places that sell appliances, TVs, or stores with large crate boxes. You'll also need to look at the thickness of the cardboard. Some boxes are double layered and some are even triple layered. If you find the triple thick cardboard, you can skip this next part. Because you want your walls and floors to be strong like wood, you'll want to use the thicker cardboard. So if you can only find single-layered cardboard, you will need to glue 4 layers together to make it strong. To glue the large pieces of cardboard together, you'll need school glue and a large paintbrush. Start by painting glue on your first layer of cardboard. Make sure to add enough glue. Stick down your second layer. If you're working with double-layered cardboard, you'll only need to glue the 2 layers together. If you're working with single-layer cardboard, cover your second layer with glue and add your 3rd layer. Once you've added a 4th layer, weigh it down with heavy books or weights, so the cardboard will not warp while it's drying. Then you'll let it dry for 24 hours. Now that you have your thick cardboard made, it's time to cut out your walls and floors. I use a large cutting mat on the floor, my quilting ruler, and my utility knife. Now let's get our measurements down. As you can see, I had you get boxes bigger than you need. Most boxes tend to thin out around the edges, and you don't want to use that part of the box. For the back wall, I draw a line on the bottom edge, 32 inches across. Draw 2 28.5-inch lines up to create the sides. Draw another 32-inch line across the top. From the left side, make a mark 14 inches in. From that mark, draw a straight line up 6.5 inches. Connect the side walls to the 6.5-inch point, creating the roof line. Cut out the back wall. Because the cardboard is so thick, you'll need to run your blade through several times to make the cut. I like to cut it one section at a time. Here's how it looks when it's all cut out. For the floors, cut 2 pieces 15 by 32 inches. For the side walls, cut 2 15.5 by 28.5-inch pieces. For the wall on the lower level, cut 1 14 by 15 inches. For the roof panels, make 1 16 by 18 inch and 1 16 by 21 inches. You will also need to cut 1/2-inch strips for the ceiling beams. The best way to cut the beams is to take a bigger piece of your cardboard and draw 1/2-inch lines and then cut them out. To make your decorative ceiling beams, cut a 2.5-inch strip of the wood paper printable. Cover your 1/2-inch strip of cardboard with school glue. Spread it out with a brush and wrap the wood paper around it. Press the paper around the edges. Add more glue if needed. Overlap the next piece of wood paper over the first. Trim off any extra paper. You'll need to make 2 15-inch pieces, 4 16-inch pieces, and 4 20-inch pieces. Cover one end of each of the 15-inch pieces with a square of the wood paper. Draw a straight line down from the peak of the back wall and use it as a guide to cut an angle on your beams. Line your beam back up to that line, and you're going to use the line across to cut the other corner. Use the same technique for the other side. Use the printable diagram to draw and cut out the windows. The first thing you'll want to do is 4 1/4 inches from the bottom, draw a straight line across. Go 2 3/4 inches from the sidewall and draw a line 8 1/2 inches up. From that line, move your ruler 2 1/2 inches and draw the next line. Draw another line 4 1/4 inches from that line. Draw another line 2 1/2 inches from that line. Once that's done, I mark the windows with a Sharpie so I can see them better for cutting them out. For the upper window, I draw a line from the top at 1 3/4 inch. Go down 8 inches, mark it, and that will be the bottom of your window. Draw a line 4 1/2 inches from the side and 5 3/4 inch from that line. Once all 3 windows are marked, I cut them out with my utility knife. To cut the angle for the roofline, cut a line 1/4 inch on the top outside of the wall, only cutting through the first layer. Then take your knife and shave off the cardboard at an angle. Do this on both walls. For the 16 by 21 inch roof panel, cut a line 1/2 inch on the 16-inch side. Again, only cutting into the first layer of cardboard. Then shave off the cardboard at an angle. This is up to you, but I like to paint the walls and ceilings before I put it together. On this house, I used leftover white interior satin stain blocking paint and primer. Paint your walls and ceilings. I don't paint the strip where I'm going to glue the second floor on. On the outside walls, I use a brick stencil I made with my Cricut. I have a link in the description box for a brick stencil you can purchase on Amazon. To make the brick pattern, I use 4 to 5 colors of paint and a brush. I use more of the gray paint and less of the other colors. Place your stencil on and add the colors to your liking. Then move the stencil to the next spot and keep going until you have covered the whole wall. To make the lattice for my windows, I'm using this plastic dollar store basket. For my large window, I cut a 4-panel by 6-panel. I'm using a sharp scissors and I leave a little extra on the 6-panel side. On the 4-panel edge, I cut tight to the edges, like so. I also cut two 2 by 6 panels tight to the edges. I painted mine black using spray paint, but you could also use acrylic paint. Cut several strips of black cardstock, a 1/2 inch thick, and 1/4 inch strips of black foam cardboard. Glue the black cardstock strips around the edge of the windows to cover the inside of the frame. I like to use my 3-in-1 glue for this part. Take your foam cardboard strips and cut to the length of the frame. Cut 4 the same length. Hot glue into place on both sides. Measure the distance between the 2 strips and cut 4 more strips. Glue on the top and the bottom strips. Flip your wall over and put your panel in place. Then you'll glue the other 4 strips on this side. Make the bottom 2 windows the same way. Before I glue my house together, I like to tape it together to make sure everything fits. I use painter's tape so it doesn't tear or rip my cardboard. I decided to use popsicle sticks for my flooring. You can check out my living room challenge videos for more info on how to make a popsicle stick floor. I left my bathroom floor blank for now, but I plan on adding a tile later. To help support the bottom wall, I poke skewers into the bottom of my 14 by 15 inch wall. I leave less than a 1/2 inch of the skewer sticking out of the bottom of the wall. I have marked the floor where the wall gets glued down according to the diagram. I lay the wall on the floor, and wherever there is a skewer, I poke a hole into the floor with a drill or a screwdriver. I took a few extra pieces of cardboard and made 2 spacers for each side of the walls. They will help hold up the floor while it dries. Place your upper floor in place and draw a line across the back wall. I'm going to poke skewers through the back wall into the floor. So using a small Phillips head screwdriver, I poke holes through the back wall, a 1/4 inch below the line I drew. I tape on the back and side ceiling beams to confirm that I cut the right angles. The last thing I test is the roof to make sure all the angle cuts are correct. If the wall angle is too tall for the roof line, cut a small amount off the bottom of the wall. Okay, we're finally ready to glue our dollhouse together. To start, I glue the lower wall to the floor. I'm using both wood glue and hot glue. The hot glue dries quickly to hold the wall in place while the wood glue dries. I love how strong the wood glue holds when it's dry. I add 2 more holes in the back wall to add more support for the lower wall. Add wood glue to the upper floor line, the lower wall line, and the bottom edge. Smooth it down so it doesn't run. Put your back wall against the floor. On the back side, poke the 2 skewers through the lower wall. I use a mallet to pound in my skewers. Add glue to the bottom, side, and center of one of the side walls and stick it in place. I tape it in place while it's drying. Next, set in the spacers and add glue to the top of your lower wall. Put the upper floor in place. Pound in skewers from the back side into the holes you made earlier. Make sure they go in straight. Glue the bottom, side, and center of the other wall and stick it in place. Tape it in place while it dries. Next, take the 16 by 21 inch roof panel with the angle cut. Add glue along the roof line and set it in place. Again, I'm using my screwdriver to poke holes through the roof into the back and side wall. After making the hole, I stick in the skewer right away so it doesn't move. After all the skewers are in, I trim them off and pound any still sticking up with the mallet. Add glue to the other roof line. Place the other roof panel down. There should be an overlap on both sides. Poke your skewers through the back and side walls. I also pushed 2 skewers through the other roof panel at an angle. Clip off any extra skewers sticking out and pound anything extra in. Now it's time to finish off the inside. I stained skinny sticks to match my floor and glue them around the wall for trim. Then I add the ceiling beams. First, I glue in the 2 15-inch pieces on the top of both side walls. Glue in the first 16-inch piece along the back wall. I made a 4-inch spacer and I stick it to the ceiling with tacky. Then I glue in the next beam. Move the spacer and glue in the next 2 beams. Glue the first 20-inch beam along the back wall. Use the spacer to glue in the other 3 beams, lining them up with the other side. I take strips of black poster board cut to the thickness of your wall to cover the exposed edges. The last thing I do is cover the roof panels with black poster board. You'll need a piece larger than your roof panel. Place it on and bend one edge down, covering the cardboard edge. Press the fold down with a bone tool. Put it back on the roof panel and press down the back fold. Then score it. Measure 3/4 of an inch from the fold and cut off the extra paper. Place it back on the roof and fold down the top edge. Score the seam. Take your ruler and score a line 3/4 of an inch from the fold, and fold it under and score again. Place it back on the roof. Cut 2 tabs on the sides so they can fold in. Bend the last edge. Score it down and cut 3/4 from the fold. Cut the corners to make more tabs. It should fit like a glove. I'm using double stick tape to tape it on the roof. I also added double stick tape to the tabs. Put it on starting from the top edge. Make a second rooftop panel cover using the same technique. I left an extra tab in the front and I clip it at an angle before I tape the panel on. Don't forget to subscribe, you guys, because we have more episodes that are going to come out in the future that will show you how to decorate this dollhouse. We are going to add that bathroom in and decorate the bedroom. So I'm super excited for what we have to share with you next. Don't hesitate to let us know what you would love to see in this dollhouse. We would love to hear your comments, so please share them in the comment section below. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Poppy Seed Mini. We hope you'll like, comment, share, and subscribe. And have fun crafting, everyone.